All right. Welcome, everybody. Hello and happy Veterans Day. I'm sure there's other veterans that are watching as well. So if you are, in the U.S. Armed Forces or were in the U.S. Armed Forces, thank you very much for your service. I was in the U.S. Army for 15 years from 2007 to 2022. And, very proud to be an American and proud to be in the military. So today's a day thanking all of our veterans. And I made sure to be on time today because one thing about the military, if you're not 10 minutes early, you're late. You guys will know what I'm talking about. So welcome, everybody. We are doing a stream today specifically focusing on the yield, bulletproof yield. If you guys are new to the stream, my name is Peter, or AKA the Wise Admiral, and I'm the founder of Wise Token, which was launched in 2020 and has the largest liquidity pool on Uniswap, and also the founder of Wise Lending, which is this app that I'm showing you right here. So one of the things you'll notice if you haven't checked the app recently is that our APYs are actually starting to look really good. We've got above 12% APY on USDC. And you'll also notice that this is base yield. This isn't inflated by tokens. We actually don't use our Wise tokens to inflate the prices. We can't, or if we did, we'd have to purchase them off Uniswap because we didn't get any for free. It was a completely fair launch. But real yield and bulletproof yield, that's what we're going to be talking about. Let me check in, and we have Blue Phone Booth says, and thank you for your service, Peter. Thank you very much, Blue Phone Booth. I appreciate that. So welcome to the stream. And let's talk about Wise Lending and talk about what this protocol is trying to do. Because there's actually a bunch of lending protocols in the space. There's like, a couple hundred lending protocols if you add in all the, every different blockchain and all the lending protocols there. So how are we differentiating ourselves from the competition? The way we are is by, first of all, risk. When you use any DeFi protocol, there's always going to be a certain amount of risk that you are having to take on. And with Wise, it is the base level of risk. It's the same level of risk as if you were to use Aave, the biggest lending platform, or something really decentralized and bulletproof and very safe, like, for instance, Lido staked ETH. Now, Aave was one of the first lending protocols, and they started in about 2018, and then by 2020 is when they really started to blossom. That was right when we started launching Wise Token. Actually, we launched our token first, and then spent a lot more time building our lending platform. They launched a lending platform first with a token that's not really, there's nothing interesting about their token. It's just a regular governance token that's not backed by anything, where ours is actually backed by Ethereum. It's got way more liquidity. Even though Aave, for instance, Aave's got $250 million in their treasury because they make hundreds of millions of dollars of profit per year. So, they're doing quite well. And even they don't have as much liquidity as we do on Uniswap. I'm sure they could take that 250 million in their treasury and make it, but they're not. And you know why? Is because Aave is owned by people that's their return. That's their money. It's not owned by the community. But Wise Lending, Wise Token and Wise Lending, they're all community projects. I'm the founder, and I funded them out of my own pockets, and I built them in such a way that money doesn't come back to me, but instead money goes back into the ecosystem, back into the community. So all that money that's being earned on Aave, $250 million per year currently, that money is not going to the Aave holders. It's not going to the Aave users. No, it is going to other people. And maybe they can start implementing, they might have some proposals or whatever to start implementing, using some of their revenue to go back to the community. But that's just going to be a drip, compared to what they're making. I mean, they've got VCs that are backing Aave. They've got, founders and teams that expect to be paid a lot. There's a big chunk of that revenue is going to them, but not with Wise Lending. We are literally running on a skeleton crew of heroes, of absolute heroes, plus some We call it free cult labor. And so we are basically running on an extremely lean team without a lot of expenses. And I am not expecting to make any type of return on, being the founder of the protocol. What I am wanting to make my return on, because I do want to make a return, I'm just not launching a charity. I want to make that return on the WISE tokens that I bought with my own money. So if you guys are new, I actually sold my home in 2020, converted that money to ETH, and then bought WISE tokens with it in the auction alongside every other investor. So my reward is aligned with your reward, and anybody who's in, the WISE ecosystem. We are completely aligned because the only way I'm making money is from the return of WISE tokens. And so because I set it up like that, everything is aligned, and I'm working my butt off to make this ecosystem profitable and to drive value back into the WISE token. So this is how we're different than Aave from a fundamental perspective, because we're community-owned projects that's using its revenue to go back to the community and drive value into the token 100% without any strings attached, without any VCs having ownership, none of that. It's very efficient. And so we'll always be more efficient than any of our competitors, because if any competitor wanted to compete the way we're competing as far as fairness and try to be the fairest protocol, how can you get more fair than us? You can't. You'd have to be literally like giving money away out of thin air. Like you can't get fairer than completely no strings attached, plus giving all the revenue back to users. And the thing is, why would anybody want to compete to make a fairer protocol when they could just join our ecosystem anyway? Because there's no upside in competing with us on fairness. And so that was like my strategy to become really, really big, because I know we're really tiny right now. I know we just crossed 1 million. We're actually at 1.4 million now. We had some ETH come in today and yesterday. But I do believe we will grow to be quite large. Like we're just starting off, and we have the foundation to grow into the world's largest lending protocol on DeFi. And that's part of the master plan, because as we're gaining traction and as we're growing, and we will grow because of this efficiency too. This efficiency is going to make it a lot easier for us to grow, because as we start gaining traction, people start realizing how much better it is over on this side of the fence, where everything is given back to the users and is more efficient, and we're able to squeeze out more value for the actual users. And then when that starts happening, that's going to directly increase the value of WISE token as well. So we don't see massive pumps yet in WISE token, besides the fact that we're pumping because ETH is pumping. So WISE token is 30% up of where it was just a few months ago. But that's because of the ETH, because we're backed by ETH. So we have that value in ETH. Soon, I don't know how soon, but sooner or later, as we gain traction on WISE lending, that's going to, WISE is going to pump off its own merits, because we're going to create our own revenue. We have our own community that's growing the token as well. We've got marketing now. We're going to start growing off our own merits very soon, and that means we'll go up versus Ethereum. So we get to double dip. We already are built on top of the value of Ether, the WISE token is. And so the success of the WISE lending protocol is just going to drive even more value, so that WISE token goes up versus Ether. So that's how our community is made. But it actually gets even better than this too, because this is just from a fundamentals perspective, right? We're also better from a technical perspective if you compare one platform to the other platform. Because if you look at our platform right now, you can see that we're earning 12.27% APY on USDC. You can see 1.83 on ETH. This actually can be improved significantly. The reason why it went down, it was at like 4%. The reason why it went down is because people added ETH, and then nobody has taken out a power farm position yet. So this power farms page is one of the ways in which we are technically, like from a technical perspective, we're much different than Aave. Because Aave just has this type of thing. You can supply, and then once you supply assets, you can borrow against those assets. But Aave does not have integrated yield sources. Now, what these do, what the power farms do, is they create a demand for borrowing. And this is something that Aave doesn't have. So if you go to Aave's pools, you can see that the APY is rather low. Like it might spike up. Right now the market's pumping, right? So it might temporarily spike up. But if you look at the averages on ETH is under 2%. The averages on stablecoins is around 5%. And this is a bull market year. So when on the non-bull market years, it's more like 2 or 3%. Our average is much, much higher because we created a demand, and our demand comes from Pendle. Currently, our farming positions are built on Pendle. So this is a feature that people can use, and it could be the same people that are putting money to supply on this side of the protocol. It could be completely new people. It can be me. It could be the rest of my team. It could be anybody. It's completely open source. Anybody can come to the protocol and open up one of these farming positions. And what these farming positions are doing is they are borrowing from the available funds in these pools. You can see there's like 41 ETH here, and right now 13.57 ETH is available to borrow. You can see in this pool, 252,000 USDC is deposited, and right now 25.2% is available to borrow. So you can borrow what's available, and you can put it on one of these farming sources that we've integrated. And you can see we've got the Pendle Athena SUSDE pool, which is the Athena protocol. And then for ETH, we have the ETH farm, Pendle Lido Staked ETH. And so let me actually go to Pendle, which is right here, and you can see those pools for yourself. So the first one is the SUSDE, the Athena protocol. And you can see that the base APY here is 20.94%, almost 21% APY. And this is the pool right here. Now, you can actually go back to our protocol and notice that people are only paying 17% currently to borrow. So they're paying 17% to borrow. And on all those borrowed funds, they're making 20.94%. So they're making an arbitrage. And you can see that the arbitrage is pretty good right now, like it's 74% APY. So there's actually an opportunity to actually borrow up the pool more. Now, currently, the USDC, these pools are actually, except for Ethereum, they're at the optimal utilization rate. We have the USDC pool set to 90%. Utilization, and it's right there. And then there's less funds. There's only 50K in the USDT and the DAI token. So we have those set to 80%. So currently it's optimally borrowed. And what we need to do is we need to change the APY parameters. We need to tune it up a little bit, which will be done, within a day or two. And then that means that the APY will actually go up even more. For instance, the USDC pool and the USDT pool and the DAI pool, they're borrowed up to the optimal utilization level. We just need to tweak the APY parameters, and they're actually going to go up a couple more percent in APY. The ETH pool is set at the right parameters, but it actually needs more people to borrow because the utilization for ETH is only at 67%. We can actually bring that all the way up to 90%. So you can borrow up to 90% of funds. There's 41.4 total. So that means you can borrow up everything except 4.14 ETH, and then that would be borrowed up to 90% utilization. So somebody could do that, and then the APY will go up to, let's see what it is on Pendle. If it's 6.5 on Pendle, they could probably borrow it up to 5% borrow rate, which would be at least a 4% APY for the lenders in this pool right here. I suspect the reason why nobody has borrowed it up yet is because right now Bitcoin is pumping, right? Bitcoin is like pumping to the moon. And Gwei right now is 47. So at 47 Gwei, if somebody wanted to open up a power farm position, that's going to cost hundreds of dollars in ETH. Or excuse me, hundreds of dollars that you pay in ETH for that gas fee. So we'd much rather wait till like the weekend or like a dip where it goes, to single digit way, where you'd only have to pay about $100, or if you get it in like low single digits, then you'd only have to pay like $50 or maybe even $20 if you get it down to like 2 gwei. So that's that. And now actually let me switch to one of my other wallets that actually has a position open on Pendle. And you can see that I have opened up Power Farm positions. I've actually been one of the primary people opening up Power Farm positions, probably mostly because people don't know about this and don't know about the opportunity. And I wanted to point something out here because when you're opening up these positions, let's actually go back and let's go through the process of opening up a position. So to open up a position, you would go here and then you would put in the amount of ETH you want to use from your wallet. And then you would select your leverage level. You want to probably select 15x so that you're using the least amount of funds for the most amount of leverage possible. This is a safe type of leverage, by the way, because you're using ETH to borrow ETH and turn it into Lido staked ETH. So you don't have to worry about like the price going up or down. It's not going to liquidate you from the price going up or down. Because you're using like kind leverage. The only thing you have to worry about is making sure that APY is positive. So you can see we'd be just fine here. We can open up a position that is net 42% APY. We'd be paying 3.98% to borrow the funds. And then our source APY is 6.5%, 6.52, which we can go and verify that here, which is not this pool right here, 6.527%. So that's the source. This is how much we're paying. And we're making an arbitrage. Multiply that times the 15x leverage, and you can see it would be 42.07% net APY. And so if I use 0.1 ETH, 15x leverage, I'd be borrowing 1.4 ETH, and my total position would be 1.5 ETH total. So that's really good. Now, the one thing to consider here is one, if you're on Ethereum, it's going to be some fees to open this. So I wouldn't want to do 0.1 because that's too small of a position. I'm going to lose like all the profits I'd make. They pretty much be lost in fees because there's gas fees to open. It's going to be like $100. And then there's also some slippage fees because we're using leverage. So there's some fees on Pendle and there's some slippage in those pools too. So all in all, I might be losing like some money to start off. If we go switch to my account that has active farms, I just started these farms like 1 or 2 days ago, right? See, I'm using, I borrowed up most of the USDC pool. Say I use 6,700 at 15x. I borrowed up a lot of the Tether pool and the DAI pool as well, and I open up a position in ETH too. So a total of 16,600 in funds, and my current evaluation is 14,008. So we're talking about like multiple thousands of dollars in net negative right now, and that is because of the fees from opening the position. However, if you look, I'm currently earning 79% APY on this one, 85% APY on this one, 94% APY, 53% on this one, and look at how many days left are to maturity. 135 days, and this one is 408 days for the Lido staked ETH. So I can leave these for like 4 months, and this one for over a year, and they have that much time to earn. And so if I'm earning that much APY, I'm going to break even in about 1 to 2 months. And so in 1 to 2 months, I'm going to break even, and then the rest I'm just going to be coasting into profits. And as long as the APY stays high, they're going to be great profits. And now you don't even have to worry about the APY staying positive over time, because if it changes on Pendle, then we'll change the borrow rates in these pools here to match that. So like if as soon as it would go negative on the farms, then we just tweak it so that 90% utilization would now be 18% or 17% or whatever it needs to be changed to. So all you have to worry about is one, the utilization of the pools. Make sure, like if this was barred up to 97% utilization rate, well, that's too much. So then you'd be paying more and you might have negative APY here. But as long as the utilization rate is around the right place that it's supposed to be, either 90% or 80% if it's a lower liquidity pool, then you're good to go. And just keep on checking here. I would check it a couple times a week just to make sure things are still positive APY, and you don't ever have to worry about it until it matures, and then you can go ahead and close out your position. So this is what power farms are. Now, I'm a heavy power farm user. So like this is my protocol. I understand it intimately, and I know that these are very safe ways to earn a return when the opportunity is there. But not everybody can use power farms, right? Because I'm using 15x leverage, so I'm also obviously borrowing other people's money. And so if everybody uses 15x leverage, obviously everybody cannot have a power farm. Now, if you are somebody who uses Wise Lending, like for instance, if you're going to use Wise Lending as a savings account and just put your money here, then, which is something I definitely recommend. Like I have as much funds as I can possibly have. I have deposited them on Wise Lending just as a supplier here. If you're depositing that money, especially if it's a large amount of money, you can just create a power farm afterwards and then borrow up your own money essentially. So for instance, there's a guy, not me, I know him. He is one of our OG members that has been with us for a long time, put 250,000 USDC into this protocol. Now, what he could have done is he could have immediately opened up a power farm position and then borrowed all that up with about 6,000 or 7,000 or maybe 10, 15,000 USDC. He could open up a position and then borrow up all those funds. And then he would be earning on the power farm position. And he would also be the one that's essentially paying himself as the supplier as well. So that's one way to optimize your APY a little bit more if you're a whale. But like I said before, you have to do some monitoring. This whale, he travels a lot. He maybe doesn't want to check the protocol every other day to make sure that the APY on the farms are positive. That's perfectly fine because he can dump 250K on the protocol. He's now earning $80 a day, soon to be $90 or $100 a day when our APY goes up a little bit. And that's several $1,000s a month that he's just earning passively. That's just going to increase. And he's going to be able to see that increase every single day because it's literally, every single block, it just adds to your value. So yeah, that's how that works. Wise Army. Absolutely. What's up, wise people from Crypto Ingress? My bank. Exactly. So the idea is to just use Wise as your bank, as your savings account. These are banking services. However, we're better than a bank because the thing with the banks is the banks are, they are managers of your money. You actually give the bank your money and they have it. They could take it, they could keep it from you. They could say, hey, we're not going to let you withdraw because blah, blah, blah. They can say, we're going to close your accounts, blah, blah, blah. They can say, hey, we're not going to let you transfer this amount of money. They get to lend it out to other people. And it's the banks who make a lot of money from lending it out to other people, especially when you consider fractional reserve banking, because they take your money and they lend it out several times over, and they make, high APY on that. Well, in a protocol like this, it's banking services. However, I'm not managing your money. Like this $1.4 million, I can't backdoor and then, pull that money out of the pools. Can't do it. They're decentralized on-chain pools and they're protected by Chainlink oracles. So there's nothing that could ever take the money away from you if you decide to use the protocol. So that's the difference. It's permissionless. It's backed one-to-one. And then you get to earn the high APY that's being made from the lenders instead of the banks being able to earn that high APY. So that's the difference with us. Now I wanted to touch on the leaderboards here too, because we have these leaderboards. Remember I explained at the beginning of the stream how this is a protocol that gives back to the community, right? So everything about this protocol is meant to drive value back to the community. One of the ways is by having a leaderboard for contributions. Now, let me explain to you how this works. So we've got a prize pool, right? We got a $1,000 prize pool currently. Why is it $1,000? Well, because we only have $1.4 million on the protocol. If we had $1 billion you had $1 billion on the protocol, this could be $100,000, and you can see 19 days left. This is a 1 month time period, so this resets every month. So currently we've got $1,000 a month. This will go up as our TVL goes up, and this is given back to the community based on your contribution. Now what's a contribution? The first way to contribute is by depositing money into the protocol on the supply side. So you don't get points for contribution for opening up a power farm position. Your reward is the high APY that you get from the farm. You get points from supplying assets. So supplying ETH, supplying stablecoins. I don't think we're tracking supplying wrapped Bitcoin yet, but we will be very soon. And you can see on this page here, we've got two different boards, right? The Ether contribution board and the stable contribution board. Now, you don't have to pass out your referral link to start to contribute. Like, the money that you put into the protocol yourself is a contribution. But you can increase the amount of points you're getting, and then that will put you up on the leaderboard based off like how many people you refer. So for instance, this guy right here, who's #1 in Ether contribution. Well, actually, let's look at #1 in stable contribution. I think this guy is the guy who put in the 250K of USDC, maybe. If he put it in recently, so maybe he hasn't had time to earn up enough points yet. But you know, one way or another, that guy is eventually going to be the #1 on the stable contribution board until, you know, somebody else puts in more stable coins, right? However, let's say I refer 100 different people who each put in 10K or 20K, 30K. Well, then here's what's going to happen. I'm going to earn 10% of their points that they are creating by depositing money. So let me make sure this makes sense to you guys. So this is a referral system where contributions are from depositing money into the protocol. And when you deposit money into the protocol from your wallet, that is a direct contribution, and you will start earning points from that regardless of if you become a referrer and pass out your referral link. You're going to get points regardless. However, if you start referring people, which is, you know, you see this link right here, it says your referral network. You can copy this link. This link is unique to the wallet that you have connected. So it's your unique referral link. You don't have to give any personal information or sign up for anything. You just pass around your link. And so if you pass around this link, somebody opens that up in a browser, all they have to do is connect their wallet and sign a message. Doesn't even cost any gas. And now they are in your network. And so what that means is any money that they put into Wise Lending, they're going to earn their contribution, but you're going to get 10% of the points that they're making, and they're going to get an extra 10% too because they're using a referral link. So if you just put money in the protocol and you're not part of a referral network, you're going to make 100% of the points that you're supposed to make. If you have previously clicked on a link and you know, joined a network, whatever money you put in, you are going to make 110% of the points over time. And then the person who referred you is going to earn 10%. So what that means is you can refer a big whale, but referring one big whale, the whale is actually still going to generate more points than you. If you want to like start topping these charts, you actually have to refer a bunch of people. So for instance, in the beginning, whales are going to dominate this leaderboard. Like that guy who put in 250K. If he's not #1 right now on the stable coin board, he's going to be #1 very soon. And so in the beginning, whales are going to dominate the leaderboard. However, if you refer people over time, you should be able to refer more than those whales. So then it's going to be the people who are working at referrals. They're going to be the ones topping the leaderboards. Now, the way it works is, you know, we like every single month the points get reset. So you know, you can continue every single month, and every single month is a new prize pool. and that prize pool gets distributed at the end, and then you'll be able to claim whatever you have earned. Now, as far as distribution, this is going to be pretty much a flat distribution in the beginning because we want to reward as many people as possible. So maybe we'll give like 20 people $50, for instance, and then you'll be able to claim that USDC. But as we go on, first of all, the prize pool is going to get bigger. And so we'll start to be able to give bigger prizes, and then that'll allow more people to get excited and actually compete because, as we grow, there's going to be some big prize pots. So that's how this works. And if you haven't already started trying to pass around your referral link, definitely do so now, because the more people you refer, the more points you're going to make over time. And, even if you can only just refer a little bit now, if you keep on working at it, eventually your network is going to be bigger than the whales, which means you're going to be able to top this leaderboard because you put in the work. And as you should, you'll be able to get a bigger piece of that prize pool. So I wonder if there's any questions about that. Does any plans in the future to add WISE as collateral in WISE lending, since it's pretty much pure ETH itself? Please elaborate on the answer concerning for educational purposes. Yeah, absolutely. So the question was, are we ever going to add WISE as collateral? The answer is yes, and it's actually going to be very easy. Now we're not going to just add any altcoin, right? So like all you see here are blue chips. You got Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the top 3 stable coins. We're not going to start adding obscure altcoins because every time we add one, it's a risk, right? Because if we accept it for collateral, that means you could borrow against it. But then if the price goes down drastically, like if it flash crashes and there's no liquidity, well, then whatever that person borrowed, they might not pay it back. And then that's basically bad debt for the protocol. So we don't want to introduce a lot of altcoins at all. Aave actually has lost millions of dollars because they introduced altcoins that ended up creating bad debt on their protocol because they flash crashed for whatever reason. WISE token is something that can't flash crash because it's actually backed by Ethereum. When we had so first of all, it was a fair launch. It was an auction. We raised $41 million worth of ETH. That's almost 60,000 ETH. Well, back then, it's worth a lot more now. And so that ETH that we raised, we created an unruggable liquidity pool on Uniswap. So we created a liquidity pool, and then we threw away the keys to that liquidity pool, essentially. We sent the LP tokens to a burn address. And that meant that, it's an unruggable pool, and the ETH in that pool is backing up WISE. So WISE actually has a price floor in Ethereum. And so what that means is that we can accept WISE as collateral, and then we could let you borrow versus WISE based on the value of WISE, and we could consider the value being the price floor of WISE. And then you could borrow like whatever it is, 60%, 70%, 80% of the price floor in terms of ETH, and that would be extremely safe. So yes, there are plans. We need to create our own oracle for that. So that is the reason why we don't have it like right now is because there's some more dev work that needs to be done. We need to create our own oracle, and that just takes some time and efforts. We're probably not like there's not much development being done because it's holiday season right now. So we're kind of like slowing down our development as we go into the holidays, but early, like Q1 next year for sure, we'll be able to accept WISE as collateral onto the platform. But great question there. Great question there. Earth Path Nodes says, hi, WISE peeps. What's up, man? All right, so we have talked about the yield on WISE lending. We have talked about it's getting better now, but we also talked about, in case you missed it and you caught the last part of the stream, our APY is actually going up from here too. So 12.27 is actually going up a few percent. On ETH, it should be at least 4% very soon. You can verify that on Pendle. These are the yield sources that we're using. So we just need to tune up the parameters for our APY. And then we need to borrow up a little bit more ETH. The reason why people aren't borrowing up the ETH right now is because the gas is currently 42 Gwei. And so to create a power farm position when it's 42 Gwei, that'd be a couple, $300 about. And if you wait till it's low gas, you can get it for well under $100. So that's what people are waiting for. We also talked about the leaderboards. Now, if you want to see all the details about leaderboards, we got a button right here that'll bring you to our updated Gitbooks, which I just updated this weekend. And once the page loads, you can see we've actually got 2 pages, one for the leaderboards. Let me see. There we go. I've got the leaderboards, and then one for the referral system that explains, with screenshots, what I just explained to you and how that works. And then this is like a kind of a phase 1 of our whole leaderboards too. I would love to have like a ranking system here. I would love to have like cool prizes for ranks, and I would love to have badges on Discord eventually. I would love to do some cool things. And if you guys have any ideas to make our leaderboard more interesting, if $1,000 isn't interesting enough, then feel free to let us know what your ideas are, because I know there's many ways that we could gamify this even more. And I would love to do that, progressively, like until we have something super, super cool that everybody wants to be part of. So there's that. Now, one thing that I didn't talk about is the buy crypto button that we have on our protocol, which is right here. We have Cato integrated, and let me know if any of you guys have used this. I've used this now quite extensively. And what this basically is, it's the lowest fees possible crypto fiat on like crypto fiat on ramp. So if it's like a wire or an ACH from your bank, they're only going to charge 1% to convert into crypto. Let me convert this to US dollars. So you see, if you would convert $100, actually this fee is a little bit higher right now. And I guess that's just a little bit of slippage because of the markets, I suppose. But for $100 in USD, you would get 92.76 USDC on the Ethereum chain, like just directly into your wallet. So this is very easy to do. So for people that don't already have a lot of money in crypto, like most of my money is in crypto. I actually have way less money in the regular bank than crypto. But if you're looking to get into crypto, this is a great on-ramp. And you can use it in the US. You can use it in like hundreds of other different countries too. They're very popular. They're very good, and they're one of the lowest fees that I've ever seen on a platform. So if you want to start earning currently, above 12% APY on USDC, you don't have to take the risk of buying Ethereum or Bitcoin. Although it seems like it's a good time to buy ETH and Bitcoin. The prices have been going up a lot. That's fine. You don't have to take the risk if you don't want to. You can just convert your money in your bank account to USDC, and you could be earning 12.2% APY on your savings. And then whenever you want, you can also use Cato to go back into your bank too. So don't think that your money would be stuck here if that's like what's holding you back. You can convert it back for the same way. It would be a 1% fee going back too. But if you're earning 12% per year, it wouldn't take very long to overcome that fee, and it's very good. All right, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up there after a couple questions. Christoph Rodak says, "Why are my comments getting deleted?" I think you're referring to Discord. So we've got a bot on Discord that is actually pretty aggressive. And it's there because we have so many scammers. There's so many scammers, and it catches all those scammers, but sometimes it catches good messages too. So maybe you said a swear word. I don't know. We're gonna have to look at the parameters and see exactly why good comments are getting deleted along with the bad. It's a little bit too aggressive right now, so we got to look in those parameters. It could be because you use some dashes or like some characters. Because sometimes these scammers have got a lot of like emojis and like caret dashes, and sometimes they have embedded links. So that's another reason why they can get deleted. But if they're getting deleted, just call it out, and we'll look at it and see why, and try to tune the bot so that it's not so aggressive. Do you think you'll have access to some of the 50 million funds before 2025? It all depends on when Keychain launches. So we have a strategic partnership with Keychain, And we're getting $50 million from them, but it starts to unlock after they launch. Because in order for them to unlock that money, they got to sell their tokens to Nimbus Capital. So right now, it sounds like the latest they could launch is February. So if that's the case, we're steadily growing on our TVL here. I know this whale who put in 250K, he's got more. He's got like a couple million. And I know he's in Korea right now, but once he gets back, he's going to be putting more. He was very happy to see 12% APY and the fact that he's earning, a couple $1,000s a month just from this. So I think other people are going to see this as well, and this is going to start attracting people because this APY, we just launched our farms a few days ago, so we got to give some people some time to discover us, see us on Twitter, see the screenshots, see how much people are earning, understand how safe it is, and then try it out. So we aren't relying just on that 50 million. We're growing organically as well in addition to that. Do you think, okay, I'm not sure, I tuned in late. Have we talked about the future plan with RWAs? No, we haven't. So now would be a good time to actually, before we end our stream, we can talk about RWAs. Did you get that 1 million over to the bank you spoke about some time back? Yes, I did. So converted all of that 1 million into crypto. Some of that money is sitting on Wise Lending right now, actually. And, like of that 1.4 million, like a good chunk of it is from that 1 million investor. It's basically, our team treasury that we might as well keep it on Wise Lending so that it can earn something as we are, using it to pay payroll and stuff. Once we raise a few million more dollars as well, we're currently in a funding round. We've raised 1.2 million so far. We want to raise up to 10 million. Once we raise a few million more, then we can literally pay the devs just off the interest of that money. Like if we have 3 million on the protocol, earning 10% APY or more, that's $300,000, and $300,000 that's enough to pay our skeleton, our lead dev plus some other part-time devs. And we can do that with 300K. I'd really like more like 600 or 800K to expand the team a little bit, maybe bring some people from part-time to full-time. But if we just had $3 million, then we could literally just pay the devs off of the interest by having that money sitting on Wise Lending as basically treasury funds. All right, now let's talk about RWAs. RWAs stands for real world assets. And lately I've been explaining to you guys that we're going to be integrating some into Wise Lending. Now, real world assets, they're basically just regular, Web 2 businesses. They're off chain. They're not on the blockchain. And the RWAs, it's basically using the blockchain to open up this liquidity that's available. But even more importantly than liquidity, the yield that's available. So these businesses are off-chain, they're earning yields, and they want capital. So RWAs is basically a way to take capital from DeFi users that are on-chain. They can deposit USDC in the vaults and in these RWA vaults, and then the businesses can take that, use that for their business, and then put back the interest that they're earning from that off-chain business. And the two that we're getting ready to integrate, one is a solar farm in Brazil. So it's literally buying land, building solar, panels on that land, creating energy, and then selling that energy, being part of the power grid and selling that energy. Right now, energy in Brazil is a really good market, and solar has kind of taken over the US. There's a lot of people doing solar in the US, but not so much in Brazil right now. So it's a very good business. And over the next 10, even 20 years, it looks like it's getting even better because the cost of energy is going up. And so that means you make a solar farm, it's already profitable now. And then over time, it's just going to get more profitable because energy becomes more and more expensive. So that's one RWA. We'll be creating a vault that can accept USDC from DeFi users on our platform. Now, this will be separate than the pool. So it won't be like, you could put USDC. This is an on-chain borrowing pool that's protected by Chainlink Oracle, right? So the RWA vault is going to be something separate because it's not going to be on-chain. The money's going to be converted to off-chain, Brazilian money, and then used to buy that farm in that business. But that doesn't mean it's not safe because this is like a legitimate business they can't just commit fraud. Like for instance, Bank of America is a Web2 business. It's off chain, right? But they can't just run away with your money. They would be thrown in jail. Same thing with a solar farm business. It's a registered company. The person has a U.S. passport. So we'll have all this information in the info for the vault, by the way. But just letting you know that just because it's not on chain doesn't mean it's not safe. Now, some DeFi users might be like, well, I don't want to trust anything that's off chain. That's perfectly fine. Just use our regular DeFi pools. But these are going to be separate options, our RWA vaults, and there's going to be some higher APY opportunities. Like for instance, this one is going to offer 20% fixed APY. So something that doesn't change with the markets, you just get fixed APY. There's another company that's doing international bridge loans for companies overseas. They are basically providing liquidity where liquidity is needed. If you're an international company, you might sell to people in other countries. Well, if you sell to people to other countries, you might need to have, liquidity in that type of currency. That's not your currency, right? So you might need to utilize a company that provides that liquidity to do a small bridge loan until the customer pays their invoice, from the time that you ship the product to them to the time the customer receives the product and then pays the invoice. You might need a bridge loan for a couple of days. So this company is providing bridge loans. Now, bridge loans are actually really expensive. People, these businesses, and just the general market rate for bridge loans is between 2 and 4% per month. So for instance, 2% per month, that would be, 24% interest up to double that. So we're talking like 25 to 50% interest basically, and sometimes even more. So, really, really high APY business. And this one's even more direct than the solar farms, because the solar farms, you got to take the money, you got to build the farm starts making generating the returns, and then you get the returns for until the solar farm breaks. So those solar farms last about 25 years before they need to be refurbished. Well, with bridge loan companies, it's all just money. So it's just money in a different form, and so all the liquidity is there. It's even simpler. And like for instance, the RWA vault for the solar farm, you don't get your principal back unless you want to, you want to sell it on the secondary market. You don't get your principal back because the money went to buying the farm. But in the bridge loans one, you can always get your money back because the money's just in a pool. It's being used for these bridge loans. They can always process your money back in about 2 weeks or so. So there's that, and then they are also offering 20% fixed APY, which is really, really good. And so we'll have that as an option as well. And by the way, I'm looking for more small RWA companies or even some big ones and so what's the criteria I'm looking for is I'm looking for RWA companies that have yield, that want to offer yield to users on chain. Not all RWA companies offer yield, but if you guys know of a RWA company that is generating yield, and I want to talk to them because I want to integrate them into our protocol if they're legit. We'll do our due diligence on that, make sure they go through our vetting process. We'll also provide all the info for you guys. So, if you do choose to put money in any of these RWA vaults, you'll know exactly what you're getting into. You'll have all the paperwork there, and you'll know, I'm not settling for, just like the fallback option of, we can sue that company if they commit fraud. No, I'm not settling for that at all. So I am currently talking with a solar farm company, and I'm making them make it so that if they stop paying the APY back, then then we can repossess the farm. So if it would be like a repossession. So if they stop paying the yield that they say they were going to pay, for whatever reason, then we can literally take over that property. And so that's much better than, we can go after and sue that company if they don't pay the yield. It's a much better, security. And then with a bridge loan company, it's even simpler than that because all the money is there. You got the paper trail for the money. If the worst thing that could happen is that the company doesn't pay, and we just take over the customer invoice. So it would be even simpler than that. You wouldn't have to repossess anything. You just simply have the customer pay us directly rather than pay them. So we're going for, like I said, bulletproof yield, right? And our yield right now is so bulletproof, it's so safe, and it's so high. Like this is the thing that Aave doesn't get. Aave wants you to be happy earning low APY because they're saying it's safe, right? They're saying, hey, you're trading lower APY for safety. And it is true that Aave is very safe. But what is not true is that you have to trade high APY. This is not 2018 anymore. There's great yield sources on chain. And so, for instance, you cannot tell me that you think Lido staked ETH is less safe than Aave, or that you are introducing more risk by using Lido staked ETH as a yield source than Aave. No, actually, I would trust the Lido staked ETH contracts more than Aave, actually, because Aave is more complicated than Lido staked ETH. So there's more things that could potentially go wrong with Aave. So, but this is just very tiny differences. The point is that they're both extremely safe as far as like the risk level. You're not really introducing more risk. And so what we have realized and what we have done with Wise Lending is, hey, we're going to keep the same low risk profile because we're going to seriously vet the sources that we use, and we're only going to use the best ones that are just as safe as the base protocol itself. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. That does not introduce more risk. There is slightly more risk if you want to be a user of these farms. Like if you want to leverage 15x on these farms, you have to come back every few days and make sure that your APY is positive. And if it's negative, you might want to find out why it's negative and whether you want to close that position, or if you know that it's going to turn positive soon, like you might want to hold that position. But for our base users, for our people that just supply, it's the same level of risk as Aave. It's just way more APY. So this is the thing that Aave doesn't realize. And Aave has grown huge. They're the biggest lender in all of DeFi, and they've gotten there namely because they were one of the first to innovate. They were one of the first to use Chainlink oracles to protect users' funds, and so they're pioneers in a sense. But they haven't improved their protocol in a long time, and so I think they're falling behind the curve as far as the quality of what a lending protocol should be and what DeFi users deserve. And certainly from a foundational standpoint, like I was sharing with you before, the fact that this is something built by Wise Token and so efficiently, and this community protocol that's using all its revenue to drive value back to the Wise market cap, we're just so much more efficient. Like not just efficient on the technical side. I just showed you how we have higher APY because we're a better protocol than they are on the technical side, and we've created a demand for borrowing where Aave has not created a demand for borrowing on their platform. But we're also better on a fundamental perspective because Wise Token is backed by ETH. It's got more liquidity, and we're using all of our revenue to drive value into Wise, where Aave can't use all. They can only use a little sliver because they're a VC-backed company. They're just a typical VC-backed company. They've raised $30 million from investors. They're owned by investors, and they also have got founders that probably want to make a lot of money and buy a $30 million house or something like that. There's a lot of money going to the insiders here, whereas Wise I don't care if we become the biggest protocol in the space and we start earning billions of dollars per year. I'm not going to take any of that, and I've been building specifically to drive value back to Wise Token and drive value back to the community, because I want to be a small fish in a very big pond. I want to have a little bit of success based on a massive protocol that I've created, rather than being like a big fish in a little pond where Wise doesn't become the biggest lending protocol, becomes somewhat successful, and then I take 100% of the revenue. Like I am building because I literally want to change the face of DeFi. I want to change crypto banking, and I want to show that like this model can work and we can drive value back to our users. And that's a much bigger vision than just building a top 10 lending protocol and then taking all of that revenue and just walking off with that. That's not what I want to do. I want to build something that's literally going to change how we think about how to build DeFi platforms. And like I said, it's going to be really, like, once we get going, it's going to be really hard for people to compete with us, because we're like, it's fairness. There's no upside for anybody wanting to compete with us, because I've literally been doing all of this for free. And if this doesn't work out, then I've just put my entire net worth in the last 4 years of my life into building something that I don't get any upside for, besides, the Wise tokens that I can sell that are backed by ETH. So no further upside. And I would have had, if this doesn't work out, then I would have had just a much better upside just buying and holding ETH. But this is going to work out. And I put my entire net worth into this project for a reason. And I'm holding most of my net worth in Wise tokens right now, most of which are staked for more than 15 years. Or no, I do have some big stakes within the next 5 years, but I have stakes that are 42 years long. I have stakes that are 30 years long, 15 years long, 10 years long. And then I've got one ending every single year for the next 5 years as well. So I am all in on this project. I think that the potential for Wise token is one of the biggest potentials for any altcoin that was ever created, because the end game for Wise is to be a reserve token for the Ethereum ecosystem. So I don't think Wise token could become bigger than Ethereum unless we started using some of our revenue to pair with Bitcoin. So there is a world where the market cap for Wise becomes bigger than the market cap for Ethereum if we start creating liquidity paired with wrapped Bitcoin. So then we could become, a large portion of the entire market cap of ETH and the entire market cap of Bitcoin. And so in that case, we might become bigger than Ethereum. But our upside potential is insanely large, because we already have this huge liquidity pool, right? 200 million liquidity. It's also very well distributed. There's no whales. So that already creates the perfect, fertile soil to become a reserve token that everybody wants, that everybody holds instead of Ethereum, that everybody, builds their projects on and pairs their liquidity with Wise instead of Ethereum. And then once that starts happening, then it's just going to be a chain reaction. And we're like, Wise token is going to eat up the market cap of Ethereum the way that Convex Finance ate up the 4 billion plus market cap of Curve, the protocol. So that's what it's designed to do. So we have insane upside, great looking prospects. The protocol is doing great. We're growing every single day. The yield is looking good. It's going to look better soon. We're just waiting for a little bit lower GUI, and things are looking bright, guys. So I think that's a good place to end the stream. Perfect, 1 hour almost on the dot. And let me just see if there's any final questions. Does it cost Wise money to buy in somehow? You can just buy Wise on Uniswap. There's no cost, like there's no fee or anything like that. You just buy it right off of Uniswap, just like you would any other token on Uniswap. Fired up about this stuff? Me too, man. If Wise was a real yield aggregator, make use of the RWA returns. The DePIN sector has a lot moving. Yes, I totally agree. So yeah, we're into RWAs. The whole DePIN sector is very close to that as well. What do you mean with offering yield? I think I explained that already, EarthPath. If you didn't feel like your answer was explained, then hit me up on Discord and I'll explain it again in there. World Mobile has physical hardware sale tomorrow, which will be sold off within 10 minutes again. All right. Well, very cool, guys. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. And during the next stream, I'd like to know what you guys want to talk about, because there's so many things we could be talking about. Today we went over, bulletproof yield, where the yield comes from, and then we talked about our leaderboard. There's so many other aspects that we could talk about, but I'm interested from you guys, what are you most interested about? So let me know in the comments or hit me up on Discord. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Have a great day. Happy Veterans Day to everybody.